How are tractor-trailer crash cases different than car crash cases? I'm going to answer that question for you today. My name is Bob Byrne. I'm an attorney who happens to be board certified in truck accident law. So this is really what I do. It's my wheelhouse. So with that in mind, let's jump right in. The starting place for differentiating truck crash cases from car crash cases is the obvious size, weight, and height differences between trucks and cars. So a regular passenger automobile can be roughly around 4,000 pounds, maybe 4 to 6 feet tall, and approximately 10 feet long. Compare that to a fully loaded tractor trailer. A fully loaded tractor trailer can be as much as 80,000 pounds, perhaps up to 70 feet long, average of 13 and a half feet tall. Tractor trailers are massive, and they're even bigger than some houses. And so that can really make an impact in a number of ways when differentiating these cases. The length of a tractor trailer makes it much harder for it to make turns, especially tight turns. The braking systems between trucks and cars are much different, and trucks require much longer distances to be able to stop, especially in bad weather. The huge size of tractor trailers means that there's numerous blind spots around a tractor trailer, even right in front of the tractor trailer. And that's made worse because the trailer is blocking some of the views behind the truck. The height of a tractor trailer means that it's going to have a much higher center of gravity, and that can cause tipping problems, especially based on how the cargo is distributed or if the truck has to make certain turning maneuvers. So these are just some of the differences. But these basic differences can cause a number of different crashes that would not necessarily exist with just ordinary passenger vehicles. So looking at that last example, you can have cargo tip overs where a truck is improperly loaded or it's going too fast based on the cargo that it's carrying. You can have numerous different types of crashes that are based on improper equipment. You can have hours of service violations. There can be situations where ill or fatigued drivers lose control of their vehicles because of their physical condition and cause crashes. There can be a variety of bad weather crashes where normally private drivers wouldn't be on the roads because it's unsafe, but tractor trailer companies are pushing their drivers to complete a load within a given amount of time. There can be drivers who are on drugs and alcohol, including because they're trying to stay alert and awake so that they can drive longer. Now, while some of these situations exist with cars as well, a lot of these can be either unique or they can be amplified because they involve trucks. The massive size of trucks can cause catastrophic damages when crashes do occur. According to the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, in 2022, there were almost 5,000 fatalities that occurred due to truck crashes in the United States. More than 83% of those who were killed in those crashes were outside of the tractor trailer. So that means other motorists, pedestrians, were most likely to be the ones who were killed in a crash. What's even worse is since 2009, the number of truck crash fatalities has risen by more than 51%. And that's just dealing with fatalities, not even counting all of the crashes that result in life-altering injuries for individuals and families. Now, because of the unique dangers that are posed by commercial trucks, there are a variety of rules, regulations, and laws that drivers and trucking companies have to follow. In addition to the regular rules of the road, truck drivers have to follow specific rules that are set forth in the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. They also have to follow rules that are set forth by their state in their own commercial driver's license manual. And there are other rules and regulations that are set forth, such as the North American out-of-service criteria. Trucking companies must also make sure that these rules are followed, and they cannot permit or require any of their drivers to violate any of these rules. But trucking companies and their drivers are not the only parties who can be responsible when some of these terrible crashes occur. Other parties can include freight brokers or shippers who either knowingly or negligently put a dangerous trucking company on the road. Truck manufacturers might also be responsible for crashes, if they have vehicles that are unsafe or they have safety components that fail to operate as intended. And there can also be other products manufacturers who are at fault because their products don't work as they're supposed to. Because of these dangers and the potentially catastrophic consequences of crashes, the trucking industry is subject to different insurance requirements than regular drivers on the road. A truck that's involved in interstate commerce, for instance, must have a minimum of $750,000 in insurance coverage. And this amount can increase in certain circumstances, like if the truck is hauling hazardous materials, or perhaps if it's a bus that is carrying 15 or more passengers. In those situations, the insurance requirements can climb up to $5 million. There can also be separate insurance policies because oftentimes the truck and the trailer are owned by different parties and they're covered by individual insurance policies. One final difference between car crash cases and truck crash cases: truck crash cases tend to be defended by some of the best and most aggressive defense companies in the country. You can expect that a truck company is going to fight about virtually everything. They're going to try to remove the case from state to federal court where they think there's a greater chance that they can have the case dismissed. Because of that, you have to expect that the case is likely going to go all the way up right to the courthouse steps if it's going to resolve at all. And there's a greater likelihood that a truck case is going to go all the way through trial as compared to a car accident case. If you're an attorney who is handling a truck crash case perhaps for the first time, it's vitally important that you're aware of the distinctions and differences that exist in the law, kind of the practical aspects, the insurance, the different parties, and all of these nuances that exist. You don't want to go into one of these cases and not know those things. You probably want to associate someone who is an experienced attorney. If you're someone who was unfortunately in a crash or maybe a family member was involved in a truck crash, it's helpful to know these things so you can vet the attorney that you're talking to make sure that they're up to speed on these differences so that they have the experience, knowledge, and skills required to handle your case. A good place to start is by finding an attorney who is board certified in truck accident law, because that is most likely the only type of case that they handle, and they should have deep experience in doing that. I hope that this information is helpful, and although this video is pretty technical, I hope that it did provide some information that is helpful for you no matter what your situation might be. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and liking this video, and check out any other videos. If you're an attorney with questions about a case, feel free to reach out. If you're someone who's looking for an attorney, feel free to reach out. I've got the number here, and you can find the links to my website below. Thanks so much, and stay tuned for more videos.